Welcome. What a crazy day to the 12 people here. I will take a look at OCGN, Alibaba, CRSR, DraftKings, CRM, Pizon, and Fubo. Fubo, crazy calls. I mean, I said it could reverse at 21 to like 15. I said it could bounce at 15. The measured move was back to 21. All four of those things literally happened, so I definitely want to take a look at Fubo. What is up, Brian? How are you doing? To the 13 people here, would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button, just to help grow the stream. If you could hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you want to send me a tip, the link for that is in the description. But just free analysis, trying to help people out, and we're gonna look over charts. We're gonna go over a bunch of things today. So let's get right into it. We're gonna start off with Fisker, just go through a little breakdown. But if you were watching the stream last night, the main verdict I gave on it was just kind of neutral, and that it was right in between like a mid $15 range support and $18 resistance, and it still hasn't broken either way. But what did happen today was it went down to that mid $15 range as I talked about yesterday. So the good thing that did happen with that is you pretty much filled the gap on the daily. There was a gap to 1567 or 1566, and that was pretty much the lowest point of the day. That is right where it bounced off of. So the daily gap did fill, which is the most important gap. There is still a slight 4-hour gap to 1546, which I've had on stream for a couple days now. I think maybe since Friday. When did that? Yeah, I think on Friday is when that formed. Might have been a little bit earlier actually. But yeah, that's still there on the 4-hour, but 4-hour gaps don't always fill. Mainly daily gaps are the ones that have higher probabilities to fill. But yeah, currently in terms of the chart and the future, we're going to take another look. Let me just fix up this. Alright, so we got to zoom in here because it is just really straightforward on the higher time frames. The macro trend is still in an uptrend, just getting a pullback. Some people call it a bull flag, and some people are showing the continuation, where basically you have a run up, then you consolidate, then you have a run up, then you consolidate, then you have another run up, and you consolidate. So that's great. Let me just fix that. Alright, Andrew Pickles, thank you for the subscription. But yeah, it's just currently still in that uptrend, and it will be in an uptrend until it makes a lower high. And currently there isn't a lower high, it's making a higher high and a higher low. So we're gonna zoom into the 1 hour, and I think the price did go up like 1.5% after hours, but you did close right above the VWAP, which was very important. I put out a tweet for that. What is up, Medic Vibe? Yeah, tips do show up on my stream with the message that you put in. Everybody, Medic is one of my best friends, so super hyped to have him in here. But yeah, if we're looking at the 1 hour, there is hidden bullish divergence on the MACD and on the RSI actually, which I did not even chart, which implies price continuation to the upside. So the 1 hour does look good. It is above the VWAP as well. That's fine. So yeah, hidden bullish divergence on the 1 hour and on the 30-minute chart too. I don't really have it charted, but it is there on the RSI and the MACD. So low time frame hidden bullish divergence, looking good, implying price continuation to the upside. But the only issue there is it is a low time frame chart, so it's not as reliable as divergence on the 4 hour daily. So that is Fisker. Pretty good close today. Nice gap fill on the daily. Could continue the uptrend very easily, and not too complicated. Pretty simple if I'm being honest. So now we have 31 people over here. For all the new people joining in on the stream, make sure to hit that like button if you support what I'm doing, just free analysis. And make sure, if you're not subscribed, to subscribe, because like 80% of my viewers aren't even subscribed. And if you want to send me a tip with a stream pop-up, it is in the description. If you tip me more than $3 and you type a ticker in your message, I will literally look at it like the second you tip me. So that is just a little thing I'm giving to reward people who do tip. But now I'm going to go back to the chat for a little bit. Yep, Fubo did have a nice run. Andrew said he's new to trading. Is the reason for the huge dip because of a short? Not necessarily. It could just be a pullback after run up, some people taking profits. Doesn't have to be shorting. I think the shorting volume has actually gone down because certain platforms are raising the borrowing rate. So it doesn't have to be shorting, although I think we were dealing with heavy shorting when we were having this drop. Like over here, there was a lot of shorting pre-merger, but I think that the shorting is definitely decreased, and I do not think we're pulling back because of shorts. I think it's just people selling. And now we have 35 people in here. Really appreciate all the support, guys. I want to get 20 likes on the stream, so if you could hit that like button, it would mean a lot. Just going through the chat right now. Rooster, thank you for saying smash the like. Jamie says, when you start charting, can you utilize the same method for all spans of time? You have a favorite? Yeah, you can use charting analysts on any time frame, but the higher the time frame, the more reliable the probability is. So if you chart a falling wedge on the 30-minute, it's not super reliable, but if you chart a falling wedge on the 4-hour chart, it is pretty reliable. So I try to use mainly the 4-hour chart and the daily, but if there's not enough things going on the 4-hour and daily for me to look at, or if the 4-hour and daily already look good, sometimes I zoom into the 1 hour. But that's my personal preference on that. It also just depends on how you're trading. Like if you're day trading, you could definitely use the 15-minute chart. So, but TA does work better on higher time frames. And there's one more thing I want to say. We just hit 37 concurrent viewers. Now we're at 38 concurrent viewers. We just hit a live record of the most viewers in the stream. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate all the support. Gonna keep going through this chat. Yeah, Trade, thanks for the like shout out. Everybody hit that like button. Let's get to 20 likes real quick. Oh, so we already have 20 likes. I haven't even looked at the likes. Mr. Lamb said he was the 21st, so we hit that. Let's go. We have 38 likes. Oh my, you guys are the best, bro, I swear. Lander, yeah, I think the short percentage has gone down, but don't quote me on that. Thank you for the support, Steven, Eric, and Jay. Also, thank you, Steven and Eric, for the tips you guys have been sending me. Really appreciate that. Just trying to answer the questions, and then we're gonna go through a bunch of charts. Any prediction how high Fisker can go in the near term? In the near term, your resistance is 18. If it breaks 18, it could go to $20. That is the most straightforward answer I can give you, but you need to get to $18 first. What else? Tav moved his money over to Robinhood from Webull. Can't trade for a couple of days. Wondering why you did that, because personally I think Webull might actually be a little bit better than Robinhood, but you know, your preference. I do have both actually. I think that goes through most of it. Harry, I will take a look at Zoom. Actually, I'm gonna take a look. You requested 3. I don't think I have enough time to get through all 3, so I will look at PLTR because, and I will also look at Neo. I'm gonna look at 2 of them because PLTR and Neo were both things that I've been talking about on stream, and PLTR actually did exactly what I said it could do. So actually we're gonna take a look at PLTR, and then I'm just gonna go through other things that have been requested. So PLTR, crazy. Yesterday I analyzed this on stream. If you want to go to my last video, and if you don't believe me, go look at it. I said it could break $16 because it has an ascending triangle like formation, which implies bullish continuation to the upside. And I said if it breaks $16, it could go right to 1865, which is your Fibonacci golden ratio. It's like a universal code. It's like a universal code used all throughout the universe, but it can also be used in trading. If you want to learn about Fibonacci, there's a free link in the description to my free course. And the last or the 4th video of that course is about Fibonacci. So yeah, I used the 1618, which is like the most important Fibonacci line. It's the golden retrace or the golden ratio. And I went from the swing high to the swing low, and the 1618 was 1865. And literally last night on stream I said you could get resistance at 1865, and that is exactly where PLTR reversed. So it broke 16 like I said, and then it ran up to 18 like I said, and then it pulled back to 18 like I said. Literally all of that was charted last night on stream, and it all happened today. So learn your technical analysis. There's a free course in the description if you want it, or you could just keep on showing up to the streams, and I think you're going to pick up things eventually. If you ever have questions, let me know. But that is PLTR. Now we're going to go look at Overstock and WTRH. And thank you to like the 40 people here. We hit a record today of my most viewers at the same time, so I'm really happy about that. Let's look at Overstock. If you're not following me on Twitter, you should be. I posted Overstock at $54, and today it went up about 12%. Crazy. It was a trade setup I posted on my Twitter. Everything was already charted. None of this is new. It's just playing out. Basically, the idea was a falling wedge, classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour and on the daily. And then you also had classic bullish divergence over here on the MACD and RSI. So classic bullish divergence means you're making lower lows on price, but you're making higher lows on your oscillators. You did that on both the RSI and the MACD, on both the daily and the 4-hour. Pretty much like one of the strongest divergences I've ever seen on a chart. Literally both time frames and both oscillators have divergence. And that was implying a reversal to the upside after a very nasty drop down. And I charted at 54, and today actually it broke out of the falling wedge. So the way to target a falling wedge is a 50% retrace, but there's a gap fill right above the 50% retrace at about like 66.60. So the first target would be $66.60 for this to play out like how a textbook would show it to. It might not play out perfectly, but it does have like a 70% probability of heading there next now that it did break out, and that there's a very good chance of divergence on the daily. As soon as that little red MACD turns green, divergence will be confirmed on the daily, and the divergence is actually already confirmed on the 4-hour. So yeah, now we're just watching it play out. It could maybe even backtest the falling wedge if tomorrow's a bad day in the market. Oh my gosh. My homie Medic Vibe donated $20. Thanks for being a great homie. Keep it up, Medic. Thank you so much. Can we get some hype in the chat for Medic? I just want everybody to type the word hype for Medic, one of my best friends in real life, for dropping the $20 donation. Really, really appreciate it. Keep crushing it, bro. Probably going to call you after the stream, see how you're doing. I know we talked the other night, but thank you very much. So let's get some hype in the chat for Medic 5. Let's go. Clinton, Jared, Andrew, Doug, Trade Assassin. Let's go. Steven, Print. Shout out Print, my biggest donor. Matthew, Mr. Gill is requesting TTD. The Trading Desk, Devinder, Rahul, Jamie, Killer Row. I went over Fisker in the beginning of the stream. You can just reverse back in time towards the beginning, and Fisker was the first thing I went over. Daryl, what is up? Rooster, what is up? To the 39 people here, can we drop a like on the video if you support the free analysis? If you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. I'm going live every single weeknight at 9:45 EST, and if you want to drop me a tip, is the first link in the description. So now let's get back to the charting. I'm going to scroll up and see what we have towards the top. We're going to be looking at DraftKings first. So let's go over that. Again, I'm not going to be able to get to all of them. Mainly I'm going to be going over the ones that I already have a good read on, just so we can get through the most charts as possible. So a little history with DraftKings. It had a head and shoulders, which I posted on my Twitter, which is in the bottom left of your screen. Over there, my camera's like inverted, so I have to do it like the opposite way. But yeah, warned about this at like $50 on my Twitter. Then when it got to 35, I went over it on stream again, and I noticed that there was classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour and hidden bullish divergence on the daily. Two forms of divergence, and solely because of that, the price is now up over 30%. So divergence is a real thing. It has about a 70% probability. If you want to learn about divergence, it is course video number 8 in my channel. The link to my free trading course is in the description. But in terms of the future on DraftKings, it broke out of this range. I also charted the $40 resistance and the 44 resistance. It was in that range for some time, as you can see, a little bit more clear on the 4-hour. I charted both of these resistances when the price was down here, and it was just stuck in that range. And then today it broke out of it, and it looks good. There is no resistance for a while. But what I am kind of noticing, I might have to go on the 1-hour to show this, is I think 1, 2, it could actually make a 3 rising valleys pattern, which means you're making what's the best way to put it? I'm trying to think. Let's use this. There was a scam wick, but a 3 rising valleys means you're making higher highs and lower lows, which is implying uptrend continuation. As you can see, let me just try and, this is gonna look really ugly, but I just want to help people understand it. This was your first run, then you sold off to make a higher low, then you made a higher high, then you made a higher low, then you made a higher high. So what could happen here? Maybe you can come back test $44 and flip your previous resistance into support, and then you can make another higher high, and pretty much the next like real resistance I would say it's like 48.33. That was your previous support. So yeah, 48.30 could be next if it continues this uptrend of higher lows and higher highs. And hopefully you guys get the point there. I know it looks kind of weird, but I'm just trying to show what uptrend continuation can look like. And the name of this pattern is 3 Rising Valleys if you want to look it up. How about the 100 price target for DraftKings? If it ever does get there, it is not going to be soon. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Medic, appreciate the support. The next resistance on Fisker is 1821, which I've been showing for weeks now, killer. And if it breaks 1821, the next resistance after that would be about $20. Hope that answers your question. It's not really an Elliott wave. It does have like the 5 peaks and valleys of an Elliott wave, but it's more of a 3 rising valleys. I was just kind of showing how it's making higher lows and higher highs, but it looks more 3 rising valleys to me. And WTRH we're gonna go to next, which is another thing that I posted on my Twitter as a trade setup, and it went up 9% after hours today, and I think the trade is up like 20% since I posted it on my Twitter. If you want trade updates and trade setups, follow me on Twitter at championvibe, bottom left of your screen. So here's WTRH, literally crushing it right now. The price after hours, let me take a look. WTRH, it is currently at 307 after hours, so TradingView is only showing me where it closed, but it actually went up here, trying to get it perfect. But yeah, where the orange line is where the price currently is after hours, but this was a falling wedge with bullish divergence on the 4-hour on both UMACD and RSI, and you also had bullish divergence on the daily chart on both UMACD and RSI, very similar to the Overstock chart. Literally pretty much the same exact setup. I posted on my Twitter at 263 or something like that, and since then it is up about 17%. I posted it on, I think I posted it last Friday, so in 2 trading days it is up 17%. It broke out of the falling wedge. It's currently at 308 after hours. It could see some resistance at like 320, which was a previous support. As you can see, like over here, 320 was a previous support, so it could see some resistance over there. But if it breaks 320, again, the way to target this, this is kind of off for whatever reason. But yeah, the way to target a falling wedge is a 50% retrace, which would be at like 375, but there really isn't any resistance until 390 if you do break 320. So pretty much like the area where I'm personally taking profit is at like the upper $3 range. But of course, that's not certain. Nothing is ever certain. It's just a game of probability. That is all technical analysis is. But WTRH playing out very well, up 17% since I tweeted it. I use TradingView. The link for that is in the description. Hope that answers your question, Trade Assassin. Pretty much that's everything I use, and it is free. But if you want even more indicators and alarms, there is paid versions. We have 3 different people asking about PIC, which I did go over last night on stream, so let's go over it again. So PIC, there is no divergence or anything, but it was in a 12-cent range for like 2 weeks. Literally, it wasn't even moving for 2 weeks. It was just stuck in the 12-cent range in between the 200-day moving average and the $10 support. I think the main reason why $10 was the support was because it is a SPAC, and $10 is pretty much like the redemption price. And its resistance was pretty much the 200-day moving average, and yesterday it broke over the 200-day moving average, and it is up pretty nicely. What it really needed to do, and I've been saying this for weeks now, PIC needed to break the 200-day moving average, and it broke that, and it went up even more. It looks good in my opinion. Be careful though, because there is a gap filled at $10.12. Just putting that out there. Gaps do fill. It could fill the gap. But breaking above the 200-day moving average is nice. And I think it is set for higher prices in the future. The next resistance is $10.99. If it breaks $10.99, $12.29. Those are your two resistances. And your gap fill is $10.12. The lower $10 range is your support. So very straightforward chart. $10 support, $10.99 resistance, and $12.29 resistance number 2. That's the best rate I can give you on PIC. Now I'm going to scroll back up. Let's see what else we got. We already have like 20 plus requests in the chat, and I don't know if all the people who were requesting before are still here. So if you did type something before, type it again in the chat and say you already asked for it, because I want to kind of do it like in order to reward the people that asked first. So if you already requested something, just remind me in the chat. But I just don't want to go over things people haven't talked about before, or people are not here for. So we're gonna look at Pizon starting on my watch list. Right here. Okay, so here was the story with Pizon. It still looks good. It just kind of had a stop hunt. Basically, what happened was, you know, I thought the reasonable place to buy Pizon was $100, and currently it is up over $100. But the reason for $100 being the buy place is because you had support there last week, and then you also had resistance at 100 in the final week of September. So I thought it could very well bounce off 100, and what kind of happened yesterday morning was it went like $2 under or $3 under 100, and then it just reversed super quick. So for people who had a stop loss at like 98, it stopped me out. It stopped other people out, I guess. And that's just what happens with stop losses. You have to be very careful with them because stop hunts can easily happen. And it still looks fine. It went down, but then it closed the day back over. It had an okay day today, and the divergence is still there on the 4-hour, and the divergence is still there on the daily chart. So it still looks fine. And of course, if you got stopped out at 98, it's not a huge deal to re-enter at $100. That's not a bad margin of re-entry. It's completely fine. But you know, that's just the thing about stop losses. Like 1 out of 5 times you could get stop hunted and you might lose out of an opportunity. But the other 4 out of 5 times it can prevent you from taking really, really big losses that you do not want to tolerate. So it is just all about risk tolerance and whatever you're comfortable with. I don't usually like telling people where to put stop losses in or where to put stop losses at, because it really does depend on where they entered at and also their risk tolerance. But what I can do is generally say that usually the best place to put stop losses at is like a few percent below a support. That is what most traders do. But again, there's just a lot of factors that come into play, and Pizon kind of messed with that ideology. But again, it's really not that much up since that stop out, so the re-entry would not be a horrible profit margin or loss margin. I'd say that the opposite. And the divergence still looks good. If it can hold above $100 for long enough, there's a gap fill to 124. So we're gonna look at Alibaba. I remember Ben did ask about that earlier on, and again, this is another thing I charted. I charted it right when it was breaking out of this upsloping flag, and since then it is down like 15% or something. I don't want to pull out the scale right now, but you get the point. No divergence on the 4-hour, and no divergence. I don't know why I have drawings here. No divergence on the daily either. Actually, maybe you could consider it. No, you couldn't, because it made a lower low. So yeah, no divergence on the daily, and no support here. It honestly doesn't look good. It could just reverse because of how much it's down, but it's like a 50-50, and honestly, there's just no support, no divergence. It's not even really oversold yet. It's just about to become oversold on the RSI. And the next major support is $240, which was your support in the beginning of July, and it's also where the 200-day moving average currently is. So maybe if it gets to 240, it could be a much better entry for a long-term position. But just remember, this thing is up like crazy in the last 3 years, and it does have room to fall. That's all I'm going to say for that. DI, I will take a look at KNC, which is Kyber Network, a crypto. Medic Vibe is asking me to look at Link, and since he did tip me $20, I'm definitely going to take a look at that right now. Link is a crypto. Just some history on Link. Somebody requested me to look at Link when it was $10.31. At that price, there was classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour. It was at the support line of a channel, and it was also at a horizontal support line. And quite frankly, I told the person it could go to 1337, and it did. So it was already up like 40% since then. It's currently actually like pumping. If you can see right here, it's running very well, and it actually just broke 1337. So Link is probably headed to the top of the channel now, which would be around like 1440. But again, this is not the place to enter. It messes up your reward to risk ratio. The best place to enter is when you have divergence, a horizontal support, an upsloping demand line, which was at 1031. Steven, thank you very much for the $5. Let me take a look at what you said. Really appreciate the tip, and actually the numerous tips you've sent, so thank you very much. Steven says he is up 5% on LCA, up 12% on WTRH, and up 8% on Overstock. Thanks, brother. Can we look at LCA? I will look at LCA. Yeah, Overstock and WTRH, posted them last Friday, and they're up a lot. And I'm also sitting in a very good profit on both of them, so very hyped about both of those playing out. Technical analysis at its finest. Just two amazing charts. I mean, they both have divergence on the 4-hour and daily, and that's just what happens when you get that. And that goes to all the people who say divergence is fake, because I just made 3x profits on my Overstock call options literally because of divergence. So learn your divergence. It's on my channel, course video number 8. And now we're gonna look at LCA. Yes, I did look at PLTR AZ. You're just gonna have to rewind. I think it was like the third thing I looked at. So if you go more towards the beginning of the stream, you will see PLTR. So we're gonna look at that. David with the $5. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Medic. Thank you, David. And thank you, Steven. Really appreciate all the tips. So that is Link for you, Medic. Now we're gonna look at LCA for Steven. But I also want to see the tip that just came in, if I can find it. So David says FCEL and plug if you have time with the $5 donation. Thank you very much. We will look at FCEL and plug next. Remember, for the people here who weren't here in the beginning of the stream, what I'm doing for people that tip over $3 is I'm like immediately looking at whatever they request, just as my thank you for the tip. So we're going to look at LCA, and then we're going to look at FCEL and plug. So LCA is currently in this channel. It had a very big run. It was actually like breaking out to the downside, and then it pretty much got saved last week on Friday. Buyers stepped up on Friday and it got back in the channel, which personally I didn't even think it could do. It proved me wrong there, I'll admit it. I thought it was headed for lower prices, and the bulls really did step up on LCA. But now it is near the resistance line or the supply line of the channel. And it currently is also kind of at a resistance. If you can see, the price is currently pretty much exactly where it bounced off of on August 27th. It also used 1430 as resistance on October 8th. And then kind of on July 9th or July 10th. But it actually did close a few cents above 1430 if I'm being honest. It's just, obviously the better place to buy would have been down there. And there is a gap fill to 1826. So just keep that in mind. I mean, not 18. Did I just say 18? I meant 13. I don't know if I said 13 or 18. But gap fill to 1326 on the 4-hour chart. If it can really hold above $14.30, which is a resistance, if I'm being completely straightforward with you, the next resistance after that is $15.25. But again, you really want to start using 1430 as support and not resistance, because at the same time this could be a reversal area. So basically, if you can break literally where the level is right now, there's about a 75% probability you're going to see $15 in time. It could take a couple days, maybe even a week. But if you really do break over 1430, 1530 should be next, which was your resistance on July 21st. And July 21st, that was your previous resistance. Now we're going to look at FCEL and plug from David, who tipped $5. Thank you again, David. Thank you again, Medic. Thank you again, Steven, for the very generous tips. Oh my gosh, the tips are going crazy today. Thank you very much, Ahmet, for the $5. And Ahmet, I will get to free as soon as I finish these two that David requested. So let's get to FCEL. Had this charted for a while now. It broke 339, and I said on stream if it breaks 339, it could pretty much go right to 440 because there is no resistance after 339 until 440. So it broke 339, which was not easy to do. It was your resistance 3 times in June and July. Broke out of it, what was that? Like yesterday? And then today it went to 440, which is the next resistance. It did pull back right at 440, which is, showing how much of a real resistance 440 is and why I have it charted. And obviously this thing just had a massive run. I don't know how many Fibonacci levels it passed, but let's take a look at that. It passed 2 of them. So the next 2 Fibonacci lines are 474 and 522. But again, 440 can very well be a reversal area. I'm just saying if it does break 440, the next 2 resistances could be 474 and 522, which are Fibonacci golden ratio extensions. I've seen dozens of charts literally in the last 2 weeks that reversed at a 4.236. Just saying. But those were very different industries. A lot of them were electric vehicles. So I'm not saying it will get there, but if it does get there, take caution because it is a very high probability reversal area. If you can even get there, which means you have to have an insane rally. But again, 440 could be a reversal area as I've had it charted for multiple weeks now. Now we're gonna look at plug. Medic says he's gonna send a $20 tip if the stream hits 100 views. Give me a couple months. I think we could get there in a couple months. But for now, just rocking with the 30 people here. Thank you guys very much for showing up. If you support what I'm doing, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed already, come on, but just hit that subscribe button. It's just like a little red button. It looks like that. It's right on top of me. Just hit that subscribe button for free analysis. If you want to send me a tip, first link in the description. Now we're going to go over plug, which is again on a massive rally. There is no resistance here as it is pretty much an all-time high. Actually, no, I think it's been higher, right? 22, 12. I mean, I don't want to go over a decade in the past, so it is the highest it's been in a really long time. So I don't know if it's been higher before, but This is super high for the short term. It obviously had a parabolic run from $2 to 25. There's just not a lot to do when the chart has like a straight line up or a straight line down. It just, you know, TA really works the best when you can create consolidation patterns, legs up, legs down, pullbacks. But when you have like the oscillators going crazy, the price going crazy, it's just really hard to tell what could happen. It could keep going parabolic or it could dump like crazy. There's just not much of a read. Let's say it does keep going crazy. The next resistance would be your double golden ratio at 27.59. Let me just skip this song. But yeah, I don't know why. Alright, music should be fine now. But it could just literally dump here. That's what happens when you have like a 10x in price in the same exact year. There's just not much I can do with technical analysis here if I'm being honest. So now we're going to move on to free. Not looking good at all. Nothing bullish on the daily. Nothing really bullish on the 4-hour, but there is a support at 772, which is right under the price. I don't know what it went to after hours though. Again, it just used that 200-day moving average as resistance. So yeah, 772 could be a bounce area. This pattern is called an ascending broadening wedge. This was your resistance line of it. It is a bearish pattern. And like that would have been your demand line, and it broke under the demand line. So it's just pretty bearish right now if I'm being honest. You do have like a little support at 772, but if that breaks, your next support is 705. If 705 breaks, you know, be careful. That's all I'm gonna say. That would mean pretty much all-time lows if it went under $7. I mean, it could bounce off of $7 too. It did bounce off of that 3 different times. But yeah, it just created a bearish pattern. It was at the 200-day moving average at a resistance line, and it dumped. It also had earnings, which they didn't do too well on, which is what TradingView is telling me. And obviously the price is also telling me that. So just not looking good. Supports are 772, which can break very easily, not a major support. And if that does break, $7 is like the lifeline support for free. So hope that helps. Steven has 2K waiting for your next tweet call out. Hopefully you got another one like Overstock. Let me know you're killing it. You know, patience, all I'm gonna say. And also, even though in the last week and a half I've had like 10 different 15% trades, it's not always gonna be like that. Market conditions are just good right now, and a lot of things were set up for higher prices, and I was able to notice those things. But again, just keep managing your risk, because even if I see a bullish chart, it's never 100% certain. So nothing I ever say here is 100% certain. So always just manage your risk. Obviously, if you're taking 10-15% profit trades, and then you're taking 2 losing trades, but you only lose 2% or 5% on both of those trades, you're still a very profitable trader. I just want to make that clear though. Like, it's not always going to be like that. There is going to be losing trades. I think there was a losing trade. Hard to think of it with all the winning trades, but I think I had like 1 losing trade last week. But again, I only took like a 2 or 3% loss on it because it was like right at a support level, and it broke the support, and I stopped out, and it kept on dumping. So again, just it's not always going to be certain, but I always want to talk about risk, because you just have to manage that risk, set a stop loss, and always have a plan when you're entering a trade of where you want to take profit and how much you're willing to risk on that trade. Yeah, Peloton. I did get stopped out of Peloton. There was like one more. I can't remember it. Like Peloton I got stopped out of, but then it went back up, but it didn't go up that much, so I could have re-entered if I wanted to, but I took on a Beyond trade, which I can actually look at right now. Zaid, I will look at Boeing. David VI, oh that is it, VIR. David got it. VIR was the failed trade. But again, literally on VIR, which we can look at right now. So this is what happened with VIR. I set up the trade and everything. It had bullish divergence on the MACD. It's actually very similar to Pizon. They both still look fine. The only issue is they got stop hunted. It broke under the $27 support, and look, this is not a fake support. I wasn't talking about it for a fake reason. Look how many times it bounced off of $27. So there was a high probability that it wouldn't go under 27, and that if it did go under 27, it could see lower prices. It did go under 27, and now it's pretty much retesting it, so maybe it could dump here, I don't know. But it just, you know, stop hunted me. I didn't think it could go under. But again, who cares what I think? Nobody cares what I think. It's a free market. Anybody can trade, and people do not care about your emotions and your thoughts, which is why you have stop losses. Because for trades on this, like Nikola, if you thought, oh, Nikola's gonna go to $200 when it was 100, and you didn't have a stop loss, you would have lost like 80% of your money. So again, there is certain trades like Pizon and VIR, which just get stop hunted and then they bounce right back up, and that does suck. But why do I care about two trades that I lost 2% on? So combined, I lost 4% on both of these trades, but I'm making 5 other trades that gave me 20% gains. Like, you know what I'm saying? You cannot get emotional over things like that. It just happens. You can never trade perfectly. And I want to make that clear. I do not want to be one of those accounts where if I get something wrong, I go and delete the tweets and act like it never happened. That's not me. If I get something wrong, I admit it, but I'm not going to be ashamed of it, because literally all I do is tell people to manage their risk. And if I'm posting 10 other trades that play out, who cares if we lose 4% but you're gaining 100%? That's just my little rant on risk management. But hope that helped you educationally. Just always manage your risk so you can make a lot more money on your winning trades than you lose on your losing trades. So while I did have 2 losing trades this week, I had like 12 winning trades. And on those 12 trades, I made a lot more percent. Just gonna say. But that's VIR and Pizon. It happens, man. For sure. So now we're gonna look at Pizon. Oh, BA from Zaid. And I also want to look at some other stuff. If you requested something before and I didn't get to it yet, remind me again. I just don't want to go over things for people who might have left the stream already. For people who are in crypto, Medic, I'm looking at you, but I don't think you can trade Tezos where you live. I think it's banned in your state. I just landed upon the Tezos chart and it looks like it's breaking out. Thought I might just mention it. But we're gonna look at Fubo from Ben. He has been asking quite a bit, and we're gonna look at JD and Boeing. So let's get to Boeing. Tilray, Alright, so now we got a lot of tickers. So after that educational rant on risk management, I'm just gonna do another rundown of tickers. So let's get back to the TA. BA, I had it charted. There's a gap filled to 158, but it looks like that was a breakaway gap. So there's a low probability of that filling in the short term. So I would not worry about that gap for now. 171 was your previous resistance. And you broke that and you ran up and you broke the 200-day moving average. I think I looked at Boeing last week, and it is definitely impressing me right now. But yeah, pretty straightforward. No resistance here until 233. 233 could be a reversal level. You also have another small gap at 187. So those are your levels on Boeing. Just running up like crazy. And nothing is implying a reversal except for the MACD being at 78, and it could stay at 78 for a couple more days. It could go, even higher. But just keep looking at the RSI. If it gets up to like 90 or something, take caution. Now we're gonna look at JD, which I think I have looked at in the past. Wow. So this was like a unconventional cup and handle. You had a cup, but then you had like a sideways handle instead of like a downsloping handle, but it still broke out of it, and it even back tested the breakout, which means after it broke out of it, it came back down and it used the previous resistance as support, and it bounced off of that. No divergence on the 4-hour and no divergence on the daily, but it looks good. I don't think that can be argued. I think they had good earnings. That might be the reason for all the volatility of why you dumped back in, bounced off the support, and then went back up. But yeah, now your resistance on JD is 92. So your support is this green line, and your resistance is 92.45. Now we're gonna look at Fubo. I really want to get into Fubo, and I honestly should have taken my own advice on Fubo. I would have made a lot of money if I did. But here's the story with Fubo. One night somebody asked me to look at it when it was sitting at $21 after hours, and I told them to take caution because 21 could have very well been a reversal level, just because it was right around the 4.236 Fibonacci extension, and it did reverse at 20. And then the next morning after I saw it dumping, I said look for a bounce around $15 on my Twitter. It got all the way down to 15 like I said. It went and filled a gap, which is why I thought it could bounce, but also you had the upsloping support line of the ascending triangle. It came right back into the ascending triangle, and then it got over $15. And then today, I literally tweeted about it, and it ran up 37%. So if you would have bought where I said it could bounce off of, literally tweeted it out last week, or yeah, I think I tweeted out the end of last week. I said look for a bounce around 15. It bounced at 15 and it went up 37% so far this week. That's an ascending triangle for you. It's a very unconventional way of playing ascending triangle, so don't do that unless it does look like Fubo, which it has a lot of hype around it. Don't do that usually. I just saw it look very good at that price level. The buyers came into play and I noticed it, and that's what leads to a 37% run. There's not much to do now. It's back at the 4.236, but there is no resistance here. It's at an all-time high. So now that we have a new leg down and a leg up, what we can do is use Fibonacci and make a new Fibonacci resistance. And again, if you don't believe me, literally at the last Fibonacci resistance high probability of reversal area, that's where it reversed. So now we're going to do it again since we have more data on the chart. From the $20 swing high to the $15 swing low. That's how you chart it. Now we're going to zoom up. And the next resistance is 23.54. Now your new support is going to be your previous all-time high at $20.30. So here are your new levels. 20.30 support, 23.54 resistance. That is my new read on Fubo. But again, this is not a value area to be buying Fubo. There's so many more opportunities on the market. Literally posted a new trade setup today, which I'm going to go over in a second. But again, this thing is up 138% in just over or just around a month. So this is not the trade to be entering right now. I'm just charting this for people who are already in and want to know the current levels. But that is Fubo. Now we're going to look at Tilray and name of your YouTube mentor. My YouTube mentor is Mitch Ray. I'll type him in chat. Basically, the way I learned technical analysis was by watching Mitch Ray every single day for a whole entire year. I've been watching him stream technical analysis before I was even old enough to trade. So like literally, I found his channel because I was interested in Bitcoin, and he analyzes Bitcoin quite a bit, and I just wanted to learn about that as a teenager. So I started watching his channel, and then once I turned 18, I started trading, and he taught me pretty much most of the things I know. So if you want a person who's even more advanced than me, Mitre is the guy to go to. But also if you want like a 1-hour free course that I made over the summer, the link for that is in the description. Now we're gonna go over Tilray, which looks pretty good. I looked at this chart today. It has a pretty decent chance at creating 4-hour hidden bullish divergence, but it's not confirmed yet. And it's also near a value area, but it's not at the value area. This is where I personally would be comfortable taking along on Tilray. If it doesn't get to this level and I miss out, so be it. I have a bunch of other opportunities I can make. Alright, this is where I would personally buy Tilray. You don't have to buy it there, it's just how I would do it. It's my opinion, not financial advice. That was the wrong indicator. So Tilray in this area right here, if it gets down to like the upper $6 range and it still has hidden bullish divergence forming on the 4-hour, personally I think I'm going to take a long on it if it gets there. Now why? 673 is a major support level. It was the resistance in the beginning of October. It was your support in the beginning of August. It was your support in the middle of May. So there's a lot of history at 673. And also that would be a 0.786 Fibonacci retrace from your low to high. So if it gets to around like $6.80 and the divergence still looks good where the MACD is moving back towards green, I probably will take a long on it if it gets there. But right now, I think the risk is just too high because it's at 723 and the next major support is 670, which is why I'm not entering here even though there is divergence. I want it to be a little bit lower for a good reward to risk ratio. So if it gets there, it gets there, and I'll probably take a long if the MACD looks good. But if it doesn't get there, much more opportunities for me to look at. But yeah, 666 is what Steve said, pretty much right around that level is where I would consider a pretty decent buying zone. In my personal opinion, not financial advice, manage your own risk. You know the whole entire thing I say after all of the charts that look bullish, because they can turn the wrong way. And it's happened, and I've lost money, and then I had to learn the hard way, and I did learn the hard way, and now I'm much better at losing a lot less on my losing trades and winning a lot more on my winning trades. So that's Tilray. Now we're gonna look at OCGN from Jared. Only gonna do a few more and then I'm probably gonna call it for the night. Been about an hour already. For the 32 people here, make sure to hit that like button. Let's see how many likes we're at. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. Like 80% of my viewers aren't even subscribed. Not cool, bro. We are currently at 42 likes. Can we hit 50 likes on the stream? We need 8 of the people here to hit the like button if they haven't already. So if you are one of those 8 people, help a guy out. Help a guy out. That's all I'm gonna say. So OCGN, I charted this I think last week or something. Yeah, Medic 50 likes easy. We got 35 people in here. If you're one of the 8 that didn't like, just like a cool little button, you could tap it and it can help me grow. Good for everybody, am I right? But yeah, OCGN, it bounced off of support, which was right there. Why did I just do that? Okay. Yeah, pretty decent support at around like 27 cents to 28 cents. That's like your support range. If it ever breaks there's really no major support under that. Ben, thank you very much for the subscription. Really appreciate it. So yeah, it just bounced off the support. There is no divergence on the 4-hour. Let's take a look at the daily. No divergence on the daily either. Not much of a structure. So it's kind of like neutral. It could bounce off the support and run up a decent amount, but there's just no divergence. There's no pattern. It could really go either way, but that is OCGN. Now we're going to take a look at NEO. Let's go! Oh my gosh, dude. Print! Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I want all the 35 people here to drop hype in the chat. Oh my gosh. Print. My top donor. Thank you very much for the $50. If you're in the chat right now, type hype because Print just dropped $50 for 50 likes. Drop a hype in the chat. Thank you so much, Print. I can't even believe it. Like, Print, you are very kind. Thank you so much. You know, things like that just really humble me. They really make my day. And it's not to say that all I care about is money, but to have somebody that supportive of what I'm doing means a lot to me. So thank you so much. For real. If you want me to take a look at anything, Print, I'll look at 10 charts if you want me to. Thank you so much, bro, for the 39 people here. If you just joined the stream, put some hype in the chat because Print just dropped a $50 donation. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Thank you very much. Now we're going to take a look at NEO. Hard to stop smiling when something like that happens. So if I'm going to be smiling for another minute, don't mind me. That was so lit, dude. Yeah, NEO. This is another thing I've been posting on my Twitter for a while. I started out when it was 39. I said it could go to 36 and bounce there. Then I said after the bounce, if it broke 44, it'll go to $50. It went to $50 and passed it. Then it pulled back again. I talked about it yesterday on stream. I think I said like the resistance was did I even chart it? I don't even think I really charted it. But Medic, your eyes were closed. Or are you listening to this like a podcast? Just listening to the voice of TA talking about numbers and stocks, bro. Bitcoin is mooning. Oh my gosh, Bitcoin's at 18K. We're gonna go to Bitcoin next. But yeah, NEO, the resistance is 50 and the support is 40. It's a high flyer. It's very volatile, and there's not much of an edge. It can go either way. I'm not gonna sit here and BS and say it's gonna go to $100. I just don't know. It could dump. It could keep going. No divergence. The resistance is $4 higher and support is $6 lower. For the people that are in, congratulations. For the people that aren't, there's many more opportunities. Don't want to overcomplicate it. Bitcoin just hit $18,000. Let's go. Bitcoin is in the title of pretty much all my streams. I try to look at it whenever I get a chance, but most people are here for stocks. But of course, if you are here for crypto and you're not typing in the chat, I am more than happy to look at crypto. I already looked at Link for Medic 5 earlier. I even looked at Tezos for a second earlier. So if you want me to look at crypto, just drop it in the chat whenever. I'm a big crypto supporter for certain cryptos. Some cryptos are kind of scammy. OXT. I actually own OXT right now, Medic. I'll look at that next. Again, for the 36 people here, if you support what I'm doing, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. But yeah, here's a little history with Bitcoin. I literally posted Bitcoin on my Twitter at 10,800. Not even joking. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up and show you guys. I posted a buy call for Bitcoin at 10,800. Let me pull it up real quick. All right. Yeah, you guys should be able to see right here. Over here was this yellow pennant I'm about to show you. The price was 10,800. Okay. It was literally right here on this yellow pennant, $10,800. Since then, since it broke out of that one pennant, it's created a lot more patterns and it's broken a lot of more resistances, which I've also been putting out updates for on my Twitter. It is now up 66%. Bitcoin literally going parabolic. I even recently on my Twitter posted this ascending triangle, which is a bullish continuation pattern, which means it has a higher probability of the price continuing to the upside with the breakout. It broke out, it back tested the upsloping channel from previous times, and it back tested that and it bounced off that. It broke right over 16,281 and it broke over 17,152. Now, why did I have 17,152 on my chart? Well, because 17,152 was the resistance in the beginning of 2018, and it broke that. And what happens when you continue to break resistances? You moon, and Bitcoin is literally currently mooning at 18,000. Absolutely insane. There really is not a lot of resistance here until 19,800. Again, this is not the place to buy. The best place to buy is when I posted it at $11,000. It would be considered FOMO to buy here, but Bitcoin is, I mean, you could look at it. It's currently a straight line up. Like if you trade and you ever see this on a chart, it literally brings you euphoria. Like that's just money right there. And what caused this to happen? Multiple patterns, like the pennant, like the flag, like the ascending triangle, and multiple resistance breaks. When you get that, you become very bullish, and that happens. So yeah, Bitcoin just going crazy. There's really not much to say except there's no resistance until previous all-time highs. Be careful because the RSI is hot. The last time that the RSI was on this level, it had like a 10% drop. So it could pull back, maybe retest 17,152, or it could just keep on mooning because it already broke pretty much all the major resistances. The next resistance is previous all-time highs at around $19,000, or around $20,000 really. But of course, this is not the value area for an entry. This is technically the worst place you could have entered in the last 3 years or 2 years. Yeah, this is the worst place to be entering Bitcoin since the end of 2017. If you really wanted to enter Bitcoin, look at all of this. You could have literally bought it for under $4,000 in March. Buy low, sell high. That's all I'm going to say. But for the people that are in, congratulations. It broke all the major resistances and it's parabolic. Wi-Fi is also going crazy. That is another thing I posted on my Twitter. Wi-Fi is currently, I posted it at $15,100 on my Twitter, I think last week. It went up 64% in 1 week. Posted it last week, up 64% since then. I wish I would have held on to it. I sold it way too early. I sold it for like 10% profit. But that is Wi-Fi. The next major resistance is $26,000. Medic requested OXT. It's independent and it has classic bullish divergence. I currently own it. It looks more of like a long-term trade. I think it's going to see higher prices in the long term, but in the short term, it's just not moving like a lot of the other cryptos are. So there's definitely better opportunities in the short term. But in the long term, it could see much higher prices. But again, there is a decent amount of risk if it does break under the upsloping demand line over here. But that is 3 different cryptos for all of you crypto people out there. Probably going to do like 2 more stocks, and I think we're going to close it up there. So for the 28 people here, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And thank you for showing up. So let's look at GRWG and then CRSR. We're going to look at CRSR first, actually. Is that Corsair? Yeah, it is, because Jamie has been requesting it for a while now. Corsair, going parabolic, breaking the bearish divergence, proved it wrong. Overbought a little bit, but just pretty much mooning after the earnings, which were a beat. Broke the 1618 and even back tested the 1618. Look, it broke it and then it back tested it, and it's above 32. Truly, there is no resistance until like $36 on Corsair. So it could keep on mooning, but just be careful of the RSI. It is overbought, which is implying buyer exhaustion. It could go even higher on the RSI, but don't be surprised if there's a pullback, simply because of how high the RSI already is and how much of a crazy run it has been. And I mean, it did break the 1618 technically, but it's not like well above it. But if it does really clear this area, the next resistance is $36. Mitch is streaming. Yeah, the Bitcoin legend Mitch Ray. Probably gonna watch him as soon as I turn off the stream. See what he's up to. Oh, and by the way, Medic, if you're still watching, Link is still going. It's over 14. It's at 1408. Literally said like half an hour ago could go to 1440. It's kind of on the way right now. AI or Al, don't know how to pronounce it. Going to start your free course videos. I'll be a daily watcher. Thanks for the info. Thank you for the support, bro. Hope the course helps you a lot, and hope coming out to the streams can give you more natural insight on how I trade and give you some advice on how you could trade. But yeah, we're gonna look at GRWG, and that's gonna be the final one. I'm sorry if I missed one of your tickers. I just can't get to every single one of them, if I'm being quite honest. It's just a lot, and I don't like half-assing charts. I like really giving people a good read of a chart if I'm going to be looking at it. So GRWG, I charted this cup and handle. It broke out of the cup and handle, and the next resistance is $30. It is slightly overbought, but it looks pretty good. Obviously not a value area to buy. The value area was during the handle. That is the buy signal for this pattern, and if you bought there, you would be up like 70%. So that was the buying area for GRWG. The next resistance is $30, which could be a psychological resistance, and your 2618. But again, it's up 70% and it's overbought. So I'm never going to advise people to buy things that are up like crazy. That's just not what a proper swing trader does. If you're a momentum trader, good for you. It's just all about personal preference. And personally, I like buying low and selling high. Some people like buying high and selling higher. And they have their own strategy in order to make that work. It's just not how I chart, and it's just not how I use TA. So again, just throwing out a lot of risk there, but there is really no resistance until $30. If we're being like very literal. Sell now or sell at 19K. That is your decision. I will never advise somebody to buy or sell at a certain price. I will just give you probability. And the probability on Bitcoin is that there is no resistance until like mid $19,000 range. But then again, it is up like 66%. So it could reverse at any point. I don't know. That's just one of the things I cannot help you with, unfortunately. and you're gonna have to make that decision yourself. Hope you understand. Just not my place to tell you when to buy or sell. Let's look at just one more. Let's take a look at VRM, because I did look at VRM yesterday. This is the last one for the night, so for the 24 people here, thank you very much. Where did I chart this, on the 1 hour? Yeah. Alright, so VRM up 6% today. Wow. Okay. So I charted VRM, I think literally last night. I said that there was a demand line, and I said that there was classic bullish divergence on the MACD. And I said so far, every time it touches this demand line, it's bounced off of it. And look what happened today. From the low to the high point, it went up 10%. It bounced off the demand line with 1 hour classic bullish divergence. I'm on 10%. Nice little scalp or swing trade, but again, the macro is just not good. It is not in a good trend. It is continuing to make lower lows. So always take caution on things that look like this. One thing I am noticing is on the 4 hour. Okay. It is creating classic bullish divergence on the 4 hour. Classic bullish divergence implies a price reversal to the upside with about like a 65% probability. So it really could go back up to like $40, maybe fall over there. You know, $40 is just a gap fill. So yeah, maybe it can go up to fill the gap at 40. Just be careful, because your next support, like for real, is 29, or it's $30. That is your 2.618 double golden ratio Fibonacci extension, and it's kind of where like the demand line would run to if it went back down again. So literally 30 and 40, very even numbers, very straightforward. There's your support, there's your resistance. It does have classic bullish divergence on the 4 hour, which does look good, and it kind of has classic bullish divergence on the daily. It's not super clear, if I'm being honest, and it's not textbook divergence, but you do have textbook divergence on the 4 hour. So maybe this could be a reversal area. Who knows? When you get a lot of divergence like that and you bounce off of a demand line with a gap fill, this could be a reversal area very easily, but there is risk. It's just another high risk, high reward type play. But I hope that gives you some insight on what could happen next and the resistance and support. But that is VRM. Now I'm probably going to go trade some crypto, seeing how crazy things are in the crypto world right now. So thank you guys very much for all the support. For the 21 people still here, please make sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. And also, if you're not subscribed, if you're one of those 80% of my viewers that aren't subscribed, don't be that guy. Just hit the subscribe button if you want free analysis. And if you want to send me a tip, that is the first link in the description. Everybody have a good night. Trade safe tomorrow. And I'll be back tomorrow night at 9:45 EST. Peace out.
we should.